You would agree with that, Gods?
Yeah, and I think with how eHome played yesterday, either of these teams is probably going to feel confident that they at least have a 50-50 shot. It's a best of one, so very much eHome coming out from a big loss where they got crushed, may be kind of thinking like, oh, well, what's going on here? When they may look to change things up too much and over-adjust. So could see, I think, either of these two teams definitely holding up against eHome, despite eHome's strong group stage. They won their group. They took a game off Secret. They were expected to do really well, and Vici Gaming just put them in their place.
Yeah, I agree. BO1, anything can happen. It doesn't mean you win your group, but you're going to be favored. It's best of one.
Yeah.
One strategy that might surprise you just wins the game.
And I think eHome's done best in the longest series. Whether you look at some of the qualifiers for Nanyang, for other events that were going on previously, they would often take these best of 3 series, even the best of 5 finals, to like 3 max games, or in the best of 5, it was always like 4 or 5 games. So I think eHome is a team that's really good in these long, drawn-out series, but best of 1, that's where a bit more unpredictable. And a team that's more stable could come out, or plays like more safe Dota, like LGD, I think, could actually maybe do quite well in the best of 1.
All right. Looks like we're getting ready to load into the game before the draft pops up, and it's actually popping up right now. Any other matches you're looking forward to, gentlemen, today? After this, we have Virtus.pro versus Liquid, eHome versus that matchup, and of course the winner bracket, Secret versus Vici Gaming. Anything you're tickled by?
Secret versus Vici.
You have that first pick. They take that first ban and get rid of the evil guy. And on the other side, LGD rid of the Tusk.
They might be thinking about, they're going to remove the Brood now. And it's now for CDEC, I think the other concern is the Radiant Shadowfiend. I think LGD is also one of the better teams that can use the Radiant Shadowfiend to maximum potential.
Brood Mother going to be taken care of right here. That's something I actually see CDEC play a lot of.
From time to time. I think they do use the hero. So Radiant Shadowfiend gone.
And now we go back to LGD here. So
Darkseer, I guess?
Do you know, I don't feel like teams have been prioritizing Darkseer. We've seen games where you go into the 3rd, 4th, even 5th pick, and it's not banned or picked up.
Yeah, that was happening a lot with the, Liquid series. They didn't really prioritize the hero as well.
Spirit.
oh, wow. Ember Spirit.
So I guess CDEC has to pick up the Darkseer. You don't really want to give the Ember and Darkseer together. They can even go for the Darkseer plus Wyvern if they wish to.
Or Spirit Breaker is another
Spirit
topic,
Breaker,
especially coming out from the Chinese teams, looking at all the matches recently. Spirit Breaker has been top 2 pick in almost all those games, with or without the Darkseer.
Does CDC play Night Stalker at all? Sometimes we see Night Stalker as an instant counter to Ember.
Not so much.
Not so much?
Night Stalker is maybe more of like a Western or C team that would actually have more priority on picking the hero.
Any sort of way to potentially contain it. But I agree, Darkseer for a team fight.
The main other hero they were going to be considering for sure is the Queen of Pain. Queen of Pain just always solid, stable, fits any draft, and you can lane it in very, very different ways. Put in the safe lane for aggressive, run it mid for cheeky. We've seen some teams run in the off lane, although that's not going to be the case with the Darkseer pickup.
We'll see if Spirit Breaker might potentially be that second grab, or a good classic Wyvern, as mentioned before. You don't want to be giving away too much intel early in this draft.
A Darkseer co-op would probably just be picking up maybe too many of your core heroes from the start of the draft.
Yeah, I think the co-op opening was seen a lot with Spirit Breaker. When you open with Spirit Breaker, you have co-op, so your drafting is more flexible. When you have Darkseer and Queen of Pain together as your first 2 opening, you are probably more likely to have your draft figured out because it's Darkseer off lane more or less and Queen of Pain mid or safe lane.
Do you think teams put a lot of emphasis on potentially getting a good support to zone back this Darkseer effectively? You know, getting something like a Disruptor. We don't see it much from the Eastern teams, but like we used to see teams go for like that support Naga early. Having the Ensnare would help him prevent him from getting away from the Surge. Wyvern is the second pick. We're not too surprised by that. But a quick follow-up is going to be Gyrocopter. So LGD not afraid to show their hand at the start of the draft.
This is like a lot of memories that I remember during the group stages at TI. LGD would open their draft with the Ember and Gyrocopter right away. You secure your 2 cores, which are really good at defending high ground. And basically, your late game is very, very powerful at this stage.
Not just your late game, like your Gyro comes online very early and can create a lot of space. And I think this was when LGD had their most success under Zhao 8, was when they had the Silo Gyrocopter. It felt like that was the one hero where, even if he wasn't playing like the one position in the sense that he wasn't getting the most farm priority, he could still have a high impact on the game and kind of roam around, not quite to the same extent that Aggressive does on the side of CDEC, but he doesn't need to be as farmed as maybe on this hero.
Yeah, that's when you were talking about the balance between getting farm or maybe and getting farm on Sylar, because when you have Ember and Gyrocopter, the 2 heroes can actually rotate, this stage of the game when Gyrocopter is level 6, you come in, you give a lane away for your teammates or even the Ember, so you help your team with your cooldown. But then when Ember gets maybe his drums, you're level 7, you're level 8, it's the Ember's turn to make space for the team. So you can actually rotate between these two heroes to make space for each other.
It really feels like Gyro may soon become like a first ban hero again because it's had huge success here and it's
still
every
really
team
strong,
is running it.
It's still really strong. The only thing that changes is like he doesn't really deal with the BKB heroes as well as before because you can't really slow them anymore. But overall, his early game to mid game, he's the same hero.
Yeah, the only thing I heard was questionable, and what people were saying why Gyro was falling off a bit was his late game. They felt that he would fall off in the late game a bit. I know he's a rapier
And the
candidate,
Ancients as well, because Ancients got stronger this patch
That's
with
right,
the
yep.
Aura.
See, a couple more bans coming out now. Lina taken out by LGD. CDEC be
Good
running a lot
ban.
of Slardar, I think, was maybe something you'd be considering for aggressive here. It depends kind of what they want to get Shiki as well, though. If they want to go for like a lot of minus armor physical damage, like a Slardar TA, a Slardar Quap, but
There are many options here for CDEC, but I think the Clock was a really good ban because Ember plus Gyro is very resource intensive. They need a lot of farm on the map, so they need an offlaner which doesn't require too much, and Clock was a really good candidate for LGD.
looks like LGD are going to target the Viper pick, which is something that Shiki's been playing quite a bit recently.
They want to secure the Ember's lane, basically. Like, I feel like Ember versus Viper is very hard, but you talk about Ember versus Queen, but I think versus Viper, Ember has a much tougher time.
yep.
Any other potential scary matchups for the Ember Spirit? There's the Queen of Pain out there. What about something crazy like a Razor? Any other lane dominators that could give Ember a tough time?
Razor is one of those, but I feel like CDEC wants to have maybe more late game. Like Razor doesn't provide too much because if you're up against Ember and Gyro, if you have Razor for one of your cores as CDEC, it puts you on a really big timer. You have to finish the game. You have to end the game before the Ember and Gyro becomes too huge. Whereas if you compare to having a TA or something that has more late game, then you feel like you're much more secured. You don't have to rush to finish the game.
I wouldn't mind seeing that classic Q 4-position Wind Ranger again.
I think he's going to be playing the Wyvern though. He's mostly their Wyvern player.
Yeah. Are they going to build even more on top of this team fight? Both teams are already showing that they got huge team fight, but with a start like Darkseer and Wyvern, I can't help but feel like they want to build even more. Queen of Pain is just seeming like a better candidate.
I think Queen of Pain plus Spirit Breaker could be good options that CDEC have right now for their lineup.
Oh yeah, Spirit Breaker is still in the pool.
They have Darkseer, so they can create pressure lane for the Gyro, Darkseer plus Spirit Breaker. And Queen would be obviously made against the Ember. So overall, they have very solid laning phase. Yeah, Undying was also a really good ban here. LGD might be looking to go for it if CDEC doesn't want to go for it. We saw, like, I think Secret utilizing the Tombstone plus the Fat Cannon to actually farm Ancients very early on. So that could be something that helps LGD get a lead in the game through the Ancients.
With this ban, I think they just target the offlaners because there's a very limited pool of heroes left now for RTK.
Not non-resource consuming.
Yeah.
That is the key.
Undying,
and
Clock, and Tusk. Well, Tusk was banned by LGD, but that CDEC used that ban to their advantage, knowing that there's no offlane pick yet for RTK.
Slardar is the grab. I was about to ask, have we seen RTK maybe play an offlane Slardar? Well, that doesn't even matter anymore.
Maybe, like, I think the few better options remaining maybe is just Beastmaster or Bear Rider. No, Bear Rider is actually resource consuming.
Even Beastmaster as like an offlane this game with the way LGD don't, like, I feel like Beastmaster in the offlane needs some help. You can't just send him up there.
Yeah, but he doesn't need, like, the important thing, he doesn't need farm.
Yep.
Like, he might need help at some stage, but he doesn't need so much farm. And he's going to be able to function the same without farm. He just needs his levels and he roams around, creates some space. I could see them going down that route.
As much as it doesn't seem all that great anymore, I feel like you don't see it very often, the offlane Earthshaker could even be like a possibility.
Yeah,
it's not
true.
resource intensive, you can just
But your lane is very weak though, with the Earthshaker offlane.
It looks like they've also been not afraid to pull out something like a Sand King in the past, or even a Nyx Assassin. I mean, I'm just saying, once you get off that top layer of off-lane options, you got to start digging a bit deep and seeing where LGD are not afraid to go.
I think Nyx is not bad, but at the same time, he needs a blink to function. He's not like Beastmaster. Beastmaster, I mean, it's cool to have the Necrobook, but you don't really need the Necrobook to function at the start of the game. Necrobook is like, okay, good, you have it, you can solo kill, but you don't really need it.
Can't help but feel like CDC are just kind of getting a draft that they would, like, this is just going beautifully for them. They get their Spirit Breaker to go into Darkseer. Aggressive has shown that he is a marvelous Slardar player. Wyvern has a good standard. And I hope for LGD's sake, it's not too much them trying to deal with the draft and respond and be forced to play CDEC's kind of game.
And this is just so much the power of like having that Dark Seer opening is that like with CDC they are versatile. They have so many follow-up picks that they can go for. Like you could very much see like a Spirit Breaker working really well with the Dark Seer. We even talked about Spirit Breaker being picked in the first two, but LGD in the second ban stage, like they want to protect the Ember, so they're forced to ban out the Shiki heroes, which means these heroes are still available third and fourth. So CDC right now, really solid draft overall.
Yeah, I guess you can only choose to ban out. Like you can only choose to either ban out heroes that go well with the enemy team,
Yep.
or you can choose to ban out the heroes that are really good versus the Ember in the lane. So you can only choose one.
Yeah, you don't want to do like one on each, and otherwise you've just then they get like a Lina with the Spirit Breaker, for example, or
Yeah, Lina with Spirit
plus
Breaker.
Lina with the Slider. And Shiki, there's still a few heroes left for him. Looking at Queen of Pain still in the pool. Templar Assassin can work well with the minus armor from Slider.
He doesn't play Wind Ranger, right? Wind Ranger is really good with Slider.
Yeah. He's not played much Wind Ranger that I can recall.
Yep. Mostly
think of
just probably TA.
Lich here, so looking to counteract the minus armor.
They just want mass armor, and they might actually look to go for a hero like Centaur or something to initiate, because they have Lich now, so the offlane,
Yes.
they can secure the offlane for RTK. That is really, really important, because the other two heroes need a lot of farm, so the offlaner has to have a good time, so you can actually make space for Ember and Gyrocopter.
Are we not concerned at all by the lack of disables potentially from LGD aside from chains and a rocket? There's no real
That's your
lockdown factor
RTK
there?
hero will always be
Yeah,
that
I think it really
initiator.
depends on their last hero. They can just solve all the issues by having a lockdown hero on RTK.
Yeah, Earthshaker banned out, kind of talked about that earlier as a possibility. It's like a Shaker, Centaur you mentioned, any kind of
Centaur, yeah.
Blink initiator is going to be pretty solid here. For CDC, I don't know if you'd still, okay, let's say against the Lich, there is some plus armor. You'd almost rather kind of throw in some spell damage as well, which is where Queen of Pain gets banned out.
I would have felt like if they got that Queen of Pain, it would have just been an all-star
Perfect.
lineup for
That was
CDC.
per-
That would have
that
been the
was-
perfect five-man
If CDC
set.
got told they would get those 5 heroes coming in this game, they'd just be like, whoa,
Yeah.
how does that happen?
So we got to see the fallback. Is TA far-fetched here for Shiki?
TA is fine with Stada.
It's not far, yeah, it's fine. I think Quap would have, yeah, as we kind of agree, would have been a stronger pick than the TA.
I still think Wind Ranger, but they don't play Wind Ranger, so that's the thing. Like, Wind Ranger could also be a really good choice here with the Focus Fire versus Gyrocopter. But I guess they would probably fall back to TA. The highest chance is probably
Do
TA.
you think there's any chance they get like a Dragon Knight? If they
Maybe.
want to be able to,
Yeah,
they haven't
Dragon
got
Knight.
any pushing power right now.
Dragon Knight is also a good
And
option.
TA brings some, but I think the DK is safer and it's earlier pressure. Here, oh, okay, it's a lane dominator.
Yeah.
So
They
they want
wanna-
to win all their lanes and finish the game by around 30 to 40 minute mark. So they have a lot of physical damage between the Razor and the Sala. They need to win their lanes quite convincingly with this hero. Like we mentioned, when you have Razor or Viper, if you don't win the lanes, you're basically wasting the pick on the hero.
Do you think we're going to see a different itemization for Razor, considering they already have a Dark Seer who could potentially get the mech for the team? Does that allow Razor to build more DPS heavy?
Probably just SNY and maybe
Yeah.
BKB.
Okay.
For LGD, I think the Centaur could be really good versus the Razor now. You want to be able
yeah.
to stamp it away from a static link.
At least a
the
4-star hero you want to have.
Oh,
The axe.
baby. Axe. Is this a first for Nanyang? The
Yeah.
dunks?
It's a first, well, at least for the finals here in Singapore.
Oh, man.
But I worry about one thing, because when you have Axe, you want to have a hero that has that instant burst, a low cooldown spell, instant burst, so you can actually keep using your call and
Yeah.
Culling Blade to keep killing heroes. They don't really have a spell that's very fast cooldown. Like call down is not burst instant single damage like a Skyruff or a Finger.
And I feel like he'd be an easy target for Razor to sap some easy damage from. Axe wants to be into the
They
meat
have
and
to
potatoes in the
they
fight.
have to win the lane with the Lich Axe. If they don't win the lane with the Lich Axe, they're gonna be in trouble.
They even have Dazzle. They may even be looking like. Do you think there's any chance of a aggressive trialing from them, or does that make Silo too vulnerable on the safe lane?
Maybe aggressive trialing with the gyro and leave, but Axe versus Darks is not ideal as well.
Unless you have a Spirit Breaker on the side. I'd be a bit nervous about him.
I think
getting
the idea
risky.
here is just to have an Axe. The Axe is going to be able to disrupt the Starlast farm in the lane as well. So maybe they just want to win their lanes, which I can see their main plan right now.
Well,
if they don't win their lanes, they're in trouble.
We'll see if they'll be able to win those lanes. The game has started. Let's go ahead and send it over to our two casters for our very first matchup for Day 2 main stage action. It's LD and Lumi. Gentlemen, have some fun.
Thank you very much, Cuddle Guy. Lumi, we're here, we're live in the Suntech Convention Center. People just filing in on day number 2, bright and early in Singapore. And as mentioned, the smog has lifted, and with it, hopefully, even comes better Dota.
ROTK playing the Axe. Not exactly the first time he did play against Fnatic, finishing the game with 11-3. C fans out there are fearing this guy because Axe is definitely ROTK encountering, right? Jumps in, mans up, doesn't care what happens, pray for spins.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, there weren't many offlaners available. They banned the Earthshaker, and we've seen, like, I don't know, Sand Cane offlanes once in a while.
We were
but-
laughing about the ROTK Prophet.
Yeah.
Not the Prophet.
I was like, what is he going to play? And it's like, Tide Hunter? What else? And you brought up the Prophet. Like, oh, God, this would be a feeding frenzy if he's on the Nature's Prophet. But CDEC, they'll make their move here into the Radiant jungle. Both teams plopping wards down directly on top of each other. Actually had a sentry on Q. But CDEC were the second team to get their ward down, so they may even get dewarded here by LGD. Do want to point out, Lumi, Sylar, starting with the boots first on the gyro, he is expecting to get run at by this Spirit Breaker Darkseer. But look at this, CDEC changing up their lanes. They're sending the Darkseer up top, the Spirit Breaker with an Ion Shell now. We'll see where he goes. What's going on here?
Well, the Darkseer versus the Axe matchup is definitely what CDEC wants. Axe is going to have a fairly tough time. At the same time, because of the boots first build, the Gyrocopter should be able to run away from the Razor for most of the time. So I think it's okay for the both spy, but I think it's more important for Axe to get farmed early. So I like CDEC's lined up a bit more in the laning stage.
And the end result of it all is that Aggressive will be going mid as the Slider. This is definitely something a bit different for both teams. And we do see a Sentry Ward getting dropped down. MMY successful on the D Ward here.
Charge.
Nice for LGD, but they are diving onto Sylar. No, of course, no bash just yet, just the charge. So Sylar will be okay. But you can see, even with the boots first, they have the slow from the Orb of Venom as well as the Arctic Burn that if they have that level 2 in Spirit Breaker, he's probably not getting away without MMY's help.
At the same time, with Arctic Burn being used, Sylar knows he's safe for about 30 seconds. Long cooldown spell, and you can see that's actually actively moving into the lane. Shiki, though, moving forward, does have Plasma Field. And Sylar kind of using his boots MS advantage, pushing him away.
Yeah, so maybe already mid lane, having a really easy go of it. Aggressive does get the casual bash off there just to show him who's boss, but this is the one downside to running your Slardar mid. You're basically giving maybe free farm right now. So the emphasis early on trying to pressure the tri-lane, but I think really for CDEC, they're hoping they can win this lane, leave the Razor there, and then start to rotate on the maybe, because just letting him have free farm mid is a recipe for disaster in the mid game.
Yeah, the panel talked about how laning is going to be key for both teams. And imagine LGD is going to go for double phase and double drums on both the Gyrocopter as well as Ember. They had the exact same build up here against Team Secret, I think 2 days ago. Going against Secret's kind of similar aggressive mid-game lineup. So I imagine they will go for the same item. This is going to be a kind of action-packed game early. For me, again, it's ROTK's lane also needs to be won. So far, he's got the, 101 build at level 3. Let's see how he spends his third point, but I don't imagine he's going to have a good time here.
No, I don't think we see any Battle Hunger points. Maybe if he can get a kill off of it, but they're going to need the lockdown here in the mid game as they make the rotation on mid. Q has a double damage rune. Donkey, stay back, stay safe. Q ganking early on the Wyvern, and with the DD rune should be enough for a kill. Will be enough. Oh! Almost could have gotten the courier there if he had seen it coming, but CDEC, they strike first. I thought it would be the Spirit Breaker roaming mid, but the Wyvern drive-by, unexpected, Lumi.
There was a observer we're seeing the bottom.
They saw the rune get picked up. They did not see him actually run on mid, but you can expect.
Okay, maybe they're going to make it go on Shiki. No, he's fine with boots. So that's kind of the downside of running a Lich safe lane. When the supports rotate away, there's really very little you could do. Are you surprised that Lich is not top with the Axe?
I'm not sure what he's bringing to the table here in the bottom lane. Like, the Razor's still getting his farm early on. Gyrocopter generally here that doesn't need a whole lot of help, and even with the Lich's support, he's struggling a bit. So, yeah, I do feel like potentially the Lich offers you a little more, but the thing is it's a Darkseer safe lane, so you send the Lich top, he's just going to push the lane and go from the jungle, so it doesn't really shut down the Darkseer the way it would like a lot of other safe lane farmers. So I guess with that logic, maybe he's better off mid, but I definitely agree that he's just not doing anything bottom lane, so we will see DDC rotate.
I think with Lich top, you definitely have some sort of kill potential over Axe. You know, a call into a Frost Nova, maybe with some lucky spins, you kill XZ.
That's true, but if XZ knows the Lich is there, he's just going to sit back.
That's true. ROTK, again, all he wants is farm, and so far he's not too far off from a Tranquil Boots, and once you do get the Tranquils, you can start roaming a little bit more aggressively. In terms of this early game laning stage, do you feel like anybody's ahead here?
Well, the numbers clearly indicating CDEC is way on top. They're getting way more farm on their cores. They got the first blood. They've also been controlling the runes better, although, as I say that, LGD, it's their turn to get a double rune spawn. But I think in general, CDEC just being more efficient on the map right now. Lich has started to make some adjustments. We see XE go to the jungle now. The Wyvern's going to take over mid for a little bit, but he has begun stacking, and I think this is an acceptable compromise. If you can't really win a lane with the Lich, at least just get your experience while stacking and setting up maybe for a potent mid game.
Mid lane here, maybe. Thinking about go. Yeah, very passive early game, and LGD actually can't fight until we have either Ember 6, Axe Blink, or some sort of drums on LGD. So kind of standard LGD, lose the lane a little bit early, hope for a stronger mid game.
Well, I don't know if they'd like to hear that. That's probably not the game plan when you pick the gyrocopter Lich, but CDEC with the good rotations. And now RTK trying to move up towards the middle lane. He will do a spot of dewarding here, but nobody top right now. Top lane. An aggressive moves top. Musical lanes, Lumi. Everybody's just got a hot potato.
I think hot potato lanes really favor the team with Lich, as you kind of sap away even more experience as they're transitioning around. But with that said, LGD still behind when it comes to numbers. CDEC rotating quite a bit though. Not exactly sure what he's trying to accomplish.
I mean, it's a roaming Lich. Like,
yeah.
what can you accomplish? Maybe they could set up the chains here, but the Wyvern's in position behind him. So CDEC, they're wise to these movements. They still have a ward up near the top rune. And LGD, they probably realize at this point it's warded. They got the first D-ward, so they're maybe thinking, okay, now we can gank mid, but in fact, there was a secondary ward to protect him. Very odd laning stage. We normally see more kills, more static lanes, but not the case here as DDC gets aggressive. We'll have to back off. Just the casual drive-by Frostblast, and RTK mid as well. He's level 6. He's been leeching a bit. Now he's going to head back towards top. He doesn't really want to lane against the Darkseer because of the Ion Shell harass, as well as the fact that... Oh, actually, not the Darkseer. Sorry, the Slardar. There's a lot of kill potential now with the Spirit Breaker here.
The way
make his way back. Not the way it's pushed in.
The way how poorly the lanes worked out for LGD, I wonder if it might be better that Axe started in the jungle and then had Lich top. At least they will get 4 cores of farm. And so far, they're not really using that Lich to their full potential, in my opinion.
Yeah, if it was the Slardar lane top, then I definitely think they wanted the Lich there, but that's where CDEC kind of caught them off guard with the unusual laning assignments. And ever since then, it does feel like LGD's had to react, but they're very good at clearing stacks here with the Gyrocopter, the Axe, the Ember. So even if they fall behind a little bit in the laning stage, this is a lineup that can easily catch up. And then it's just going to be about exactly what you mentioned earlier.
Okay.
The Ember Spirit levels, as well as the Axe Blink. And well, they have that Ember Spirit's levels, but it's not him who rotates. Instead, it's Sylar. Aquila and the Stash. They're making the move on aggressive. Can they get the call? He's got Sprint, level 2. They can't just walk on him. They need that call to initiate. He can easily sprint out of a... Oh, no. Oh, while that was happening, maybe. Huge dive mid lane. He's going to solo kill Shiki. May get punished for it, though, on the way out. He looks like he committed the triple Remnant and has no escape plan now. As aggressive will rotate. This also allows him to dodge the gank top. So it ends up being a 1-for-1 around the map. Yeah, Ember gets a solo kill, and they do force aggressive to rotate, so still call it a bit of a win here early on for maybe.
Maybe he can make a dive here on the top lane here. Here comes a Battle Hunger, but there is the good old flying over the trees, and you don't want to kind of go in there and search for him. So LGD kind of miss out a lot of times. When we see Gyrocopter making that early game rotation, you expect a 2 to 3 man call down into kills, right? That's what we saw, for example, Envy yesterday doing very well on that Gyro, but...
If they can take the tower, I think it's worth it here.
Can they? They do have the Ring of Aquila.
They have the Axe to creep skip, so I definitely think they can, but they're not the fastest pushing lineup. Look at MMY bottom. He's very scared of the CDEC dive. As well he should be. RTK now going to grab the bounty rune. Stops creep cutting though. With him not there, they won't really easily be able to take it down, but they will bring the tower low. Glyph has been committed. Q's in the trees. Looks like he wants to try and snipe the tower for deny. Maybe just TP out after that. There's no way to cancel it, so not going to in the end.
Just a free tower.
I thought he would try for the deny, but opts just to leech a little XP. Both teams with quite a bit of wasted time in this laning stage. XC and Garter just camping bottom, hoping that someone will show up. MMY is now amped. Has the Grave. They could die for this.
He's also going to turn 6 here, so that's going to be pretty big.
And even if they get the Dazzle kill, they've spent 3 heroes. They've sent 3 heroes bottom, wasted a smoke, and he's gotten his levels anyway, like you pointed out. So I don't even think it's a big deal if they get that kill.
Yeah, it's a very dangerous dive considering that he does have Grave, and more importantly, Call Down has not been used. So You dive under those trees, Sylar could TP in, just wreck
Call
your
down
top
top.
lane. Call down's gonna be there. Q again, trying to fly over trees, but this time very slow. Can we get some vision? No.
No, you cannot. Neither can Sylar. So Q just jukes away.
Mid lane again though, maybe going for his Shiki, taking a ton of damage, and he's out of there. But there is a charge. Too far away.
Yeah, he's got stick charges as well. Odd laning stage, Lumi. Oh, by the way, Lich is level 4 at 9.5 minutes. You don't have to see Lich is like 7 or even almost 8 at this point if they've gotten involved in some kills.
But he's one of those supports I will catch up because of sacrifice, so you're not too worried
But
about
he should be
it.
ahead. Like, you pick the Lich
He
to
should
win the
be.
lanes.
But I'd rather have the Dazzle at level 6, right? Because, you know, well, Chain Frost is really
they should
good right
both be
now.
high level.
Yeah, they should both be. MMY picking up the medallion this early is a surprise for me.
Yeah, you're up against the Slardar, so the plus armor will be pretty nice, I suppose.
Oh, I'm not surprised about the medallion as a choice of item, but how fast he got it. So I don't know where he got the farm. I'm sure the tier 1...
It's because this game, like, the cores have spent a lot of time moving, so MMY's been the big breadwinner, so it is unusual to see him getting that much space on a fairly selfless support like Dazzle early.
Yep. ROTK gold check sitting at 1,800 gold. Again, all of the offense will start through him. And he's making a good Blink Dagger time.
Well, bit of a slow one here to open things up, Lumi, but you look at some of these heroes and you know the action will be breakout soon, and so I was going to ask you, what are some of the key components that you see for each team before they really want to fight? CDEC obviously get one now, they get the mech, but anything else that jumps out at you that these teams are waiting for?
No, I think what CDEC really is looking for is more, well, never mind. I thought I was going to say that they're going to counter gank, because they do have the mech, but for now they're aggressively roaming into the enemy jungle. If they pick ROTK here, that's going to be
he's
absolutely
so close
huge.
to his blink. This will also, if they get this kill, probably get the Slardar his own blink.
I think he's dead.
see it coming, he's charged. He may try to roam, but gets off the call, not gonna matter, takes the 17% in the face again and again. Bashed down by Garter, Q gets the last hit. And Aggressive, well, didn't really get to participate in that at least, so his blink's still a little ways off. That was a lot of bashes.
Well, CDEC bought themselves at least 2-3 minutes.
Maybe looking for some plays, maybe gonna try to cancel a few TPs if CDEC rotate on mid. Could allow them to dive, get cheeky, and take the tower. Cheeky, showing himself near the creep wave, maybe just hanging back. Either they're going to TP in here and gank, or they're going to try to force mid, and he's going to cancel TPs. But Invisrune, worried off soon, and CDEC probably wondering, why is nobody defending this bottom lane? Something is awry.
And they are scared and back off, so maybe says, okay, I will...
Mission accomplished.
Yep.
Slardar blink, still not quite there, but he's getting very close.
Mid lane charge is happening against Sylar. Winter's Curse deploy here. And it looks like the damage is going to be
He's got
drained.
call down, he's got stick charges.
There's
Can Sylar
Grave.
make it out? There's the Grave, and charge!
Bump.
Just in time, they get him barely. Then the long range lob, but they do get off the call down here. On the way out, Shiki as well as Garter both getting killed by an XC surging himself in to drop the vacuum because Aggressive has come from behind. 3 cleaned up all day. CDEC getting just full advantage now, Lumi. 6-1 the score. Big swing of momentum.
Great play by CDEC. They saw Axe TPing top, so they just went for mid, but I'm surprised that maybe did not TP in at all. With triple Remnant available, I thought he could at least pick off one straggler or two.
Yeah, part of that was, it looks like they didn't have any vision when that was happening. You look at the Radiant wards right now, there's one scouting mid-rotations, there's one up towards the top rune, but nothing bottom. So even though LGD had an idea that CDEC were towards that bottom side of the map, the Ember went back to farming the lane. That means he wasn't scouting the heroes in the woods, so they got just, I think a lack of vision there really hurt them in that.
Okay, this ward is going to be
instance.
so good on the mid lane. If his scout does smoke, that's going to come right now. Is it going to scout? They think, well, 3 heroes are kind of
They
clumped
don't
up.
have, oh, there you go, it's on the courier. They saw 3 down there, and they're not going to see anyone entering the lane mid from this additional ward, which is about to expire. So CDEC,
I think
they should know.
Yeah.
By process of deduction, you pretty much know they're smoked.
Here we go, Axe.
And you can tell by the positioning here. Look at this, Lumi. Very just poised play from CDEC after that early advantage.
You know, an Axe that doesn't do anything early game, to me, is a glorified melee creep. No chop so far. Chop would have been huge in that previous mid engagement.
Are you challenging ROTK Sama?
I mean, this Axe...
Are you questioning?
There is a question mark right now on Axe.
There definitely is. He's 0-1 and 0.
Yeah.
There's a question mark for LGD in general here. But the good news is their lineup, if there's not really kills going on, you look at the heroes they have, they're going to win in a farm war. They're definitely going to win in the late game scenario, barring that like godly vacuum Winter's Curse happening. I think LGD are fine with the slow-paced game as long as they're not giving up big objectives. And now CDEC yet to go into the Roche pit. The aggressive slithers in now, as I mentioned that. May use the illusions here to tank a bit. Radiant Vision, though, does see Hero streaming towards bottom. They know Lumi. Will they contest? Do they have the courage to go in?
They have everything. They have Chain Frost call down. The Blink call is going to be the setup.
They have a Remnant up in the dire jungle. They're not too far away from the pit. They can initiate RTK. Moving forward, CDEC. They get a little skittish.
Yeah, Roshan is going to be a huge contention point. Aggressive going in. He also has a Blink Dagger available, something that we did not point out yet, but I mean,
hasn't used it yet. There's been these blinks have not actually been used for any sort of killing purpose.
This is one of the most tactical game that we've seen. No kills, just all movements. And
these teams know each other well. They can read each other's movements. The warding's been pretty good for the most part, aside from that one bad fight bottom lane where they didn't see it coming. And CDEC, they're going to head towards bottom. They want to knock down this tier 1, it looks like. Even if they don't get a kill, just secure better map control so then when they do go for Roche, it's a bit easier to grab. But all the while, maybe is finding his farming time. I like this pace for LGD, but that's where CDEC are looking to disrupt it. They are now about to initiate. Aggressive moving in. There's the crush. Say hello to the fishy.
Actually, they get an RTK on the side as well. His Blinks cancel. He does get a 3-man call into a 3-man call down. Can we get a Chain Frost? That's going to be huge. Great curse on the backline here. Sylar in a lot of trouble, but RTK dropping low even faster. Sylar and RTK to fall, and DDC's on the run. Chain Frost, unfortunately, unable to be deployed. Can he throw it out? No vision. TP gets canceled, and CDEC just getting kills. 10-1 is the score now.
That's the team fight combo that they were looking for. The level 4 vacuum there, followed up by the curse. Big win for CDEC as they surge into the lead here. And of course, this is a best-of-1 elimination game. Everything at stake for LGD. It just feels like CDEC are in the driver's seat this game. They're always the team initiating. They're the team controlling the tempo. They're not playing the LGD farm game. They're taking fights. They're forcing objectives to be contested. In that particular fight, a bit unlucky for LGD. Ember, right as he jumps in, gets caught by the Winter's Curse, like I believe remnanted on top of him at the wrong moment, which kind of hurt their team fight potential. But even so, Flame Guard was on cooldown. They did not get off of Chain Frost, and I think most importantly, what you pointed out, they lost the axe at the start of the fight. They need him to be initiating.
2-man initiation here, and MMY dropping though. It does get the curse off. He can cast more of his spells, but RTK though, the first one to fall, MMY will also die. And again, another fight where Axe gets caught out, and there is no initiation.
Aggressive with the deep dives. He's hunting. Slardar's hungry. He's going to jump Sylar way back in the mid lane. Sylar getting charged. Garter wants to commit for this as well. All right, CDEC, mercy. Mercy, please, scream LGD. And for now, just for a moment, they'll be given a respite.
I think this is where we see the draft, the big difference when it comes to team fight. CDEC, they have so many different forms of initiation. Of course, there's the charge, there's the blink crush, there's the winter's curse. If you look at LGD's initiators, they have axe. And that's pretty much it. Of course, there's the Searing Chains plus the Sleight of Fist, but maybe hasn't really been in the fights to initiate. So I feel like CDEC has a much easier time playing in these fights, and a huge part of why LGD is behind.
Yeah, I completely agree. That to me, combined with the fact that LGD just isn't getting the jump in these fights, and the nice thing with CDEC, they win a fight, and they're very disciplined about it. They get the aggressive wards down. You mentioned the one mid earlier. That helped them out. They dropped a supplementary ward off in the Radiant jungle after that last engagement. They'll take the tower bottom, but they don't want to give anything up for free here. TPing in to rotate is Q. They're going to initiate. Charge coming through. Is there anything to interrupt it? Not in time, it looks like. Bashes MMY. Chain Frost gets lobbed out right as they all jump in, but they quickly scatter. Aggressive jags the Chain Frost away. Beautifully handled. DDC next. It's a massacre mid. RTK says, take me two. Have one more. 4. Cleaned up by CDEC. This team just seems to have all the answers for LGD. 16-1, Lumi. Welcome to the major leagues, LGD. CDEC's supposed to be the farm team. I think they need to switch that now.
Is it too early to ask how good is LGD's high ground defense?
It's not great. Honestly, yeah, they've got Gyro and Ember, but Ember has no farm. And as you pointed out, there's only Axe to initiate. So I don't actually think their high ground's that strong at this stage.
There's Frost Armor on towers, man. What about
yeah,
that?
they're good at stalling. That is true. That is true.
Yeah, it's not looking good for LGD, and you know, normally you recover from these positions from a smoke, but obviously CDEC knows that as well. So as long as they stake up as 5,
if they're always 5 mana, you can't really smoke gank them either. That's
exactly.
the other thing.
Yeah, and Slaughter now even picks up a hand at Midas. I thought he would go for some sort of more like a Vanguard into Crimson Guard to go actually push.
This is Aggressive's like standard Slardar build. They get the blink of the treads. He fights constantly, gets the kill advantage, and then he tries to secure the more of a late game presence with the Midas. So I'm a big fan of the Midas on Slardar. Similar to Spirit Breaker, he really benefits from the attack speed. In the case of Slardar, he benefits even more from the farm. And the levels are great as well. Getting the level 3 amp damage up is it's a nice boost. Already it's really strong at levels 1 and 2, but I think Midas on Slardar when you're ahead is definitely justified. Plus, you look at their draft, they don't have the best late game naturally, so this is where you look to get to that late game through the Midas.
A small thing to point out here, DDC picking up Frost Armor at level 7. He understands that if they could somehow withstand the early initiation of CDEC, their team fight should be able to carry them through. But maybe that's before they give away 16 kills. Mid lane charge is going to come through, and the chain stun is going to be excellent here. Maybe is definitely dead.
CDEC just make it look so easy. This team, when they get to play offense, that's where they're at their most comfortable. CDEC, when they have to sit back, dodge fights, stall, go for late game, I think that's where they struggle a lot. But when CDEC wins the laning stage, they know exactly what to do to just choke their opponents out and take the lead. As Aggressive, well, maybe, but oh, just kidding. See you later, RTK. Old man needs to up his reflexes. Or maybe Aggressives just need to be slowed down.
Call and animation, not exactly the best, so.
No, I don't even think he could have gotten the arrow with a quicker call, but just credit to Aggressive.
Well,
he's a limber one.
Gonna try to hold their T1 top. Not sure if this is the tower you really want to fight for. Maybe just give that one up.
You better. CDEC are coming. Blink Crush to start it off on Sylar. They go, he does get great. This means he can drop the call down the backs there. Where's that Winter's Curse from Q? And now is initiated as Sylar will get cleaned up by RTK.
Okay.
Triple Remnant forward, maybe airballs it. He won't get anything so far. They have lost the Slardar though. That's not too shabby. Garter on the way out. They didn't get the best vacuum, and now perhaps the turn. There's your first jump and dunk from RTK, finishing off the Spirit Breaker, 2 for 1. Oh my goodness, they are far behind. That was a huge cold swing for a 2 for 1.
I think the difference in these fights is that the Dazzle didn't get initiated on. They went for the Gyrocopter, which honestly I think LGD is fine for giving away. All they really want to do is make sure that Dazzle could get off a good grave and a weave. Towards that end of the fight, even the very tanky Spirit Breaker was just paper to the weave. So
that could have been so much better. Maybe it hits that triple remnant. They get at least 1, possibly 2 more kills there.
Yep.
So.
And just with 2 kills, that's a 2K gold swing. So
imagine if they got the 3 or 4 kills.
Exactly.
And you're looking at like a 4K gold swing maybe.
Unfortunately, Sylar did die first in that fight, so no gold towards his SNY, which he desperately wants because not only does he need SNY, he feels like he needs SNY, BKB, and then some more. But with that said, Ember finishes his Battle Fury. If it does move to the high ground defense situation, well, this item would help out a bit.
Yeah, CDEC definitely need to be careful. It's not like they have like that auto late game advantage where you get ahead, you just have to farm your way to victory. Their heroes scale okay in the late game. Yeah, they have amp damage, they have a lot of physical damage, but Ember Spirit could just delete heroes from fights. So to me, CDEC need to look at that fight and just play a little more controlled and composed. Next Roshan is available now, something they may look to grab soon. And the other big thing is getting some fresh items out. The BKB on Aggressive, with that, Lumi, he can just jump in and there's basically nothing to stop his initiation. You can call it maybe, but it's tough to be in position to stop that.
He will always get off his crush first before you get to call him, unless you get stunned. So speaking of items, ROTK also has quite a bit of cash on hand. What do
you go for here?
I think if you have time and you know you're going to finish this item, Vanguard into Crimson might be good. Again, all they want to do is stay alive. And
it feels kind of late for a Crimson, though. 23 minutes
What
in.
do you reckon, then, LD?
Shiva's is not too bad. Other than that, BKB might be a good choice just to help him get off his initiations.
What about something like a Force Staff?
At 4 steps, yeah. 4 steps also a good option. I think that's good as well because if like the way the fights start generally, right, or CDEC, they'll either blink crush or they'll charge in. So being able to 4 staff that hero back will allow them to get out of harm's way. And good call, Lumi. There's your 4 staff.
Yeah, I think the previous time he played, he went for Force into BKB. And is this war going to spot something out?
Well, it does see a lot of heroes squirming about here on the Radiant side. LGD still not very defensive posture. He's going to push out the lanes. Has managed to complete a Glimmer Cape and up to 1,500 gold. This is the one thing I really like about the Wyvern support, is he seems to get way more farm than most other supports, courtesy of the Splinter Blast. And having that Glimmer Cape allows you to do things like this, get aggressive for warding, get away in fights, and of course just make your teammates virtually invulnerable for a few seconds. So definitely digging the Wyvern pick.
I wonder if CDEC should be aggressively making a Roshan play instead of doing what they're doing right now. It feels like they don't need to take this risk.
Roshan, I think. Oh, if they see these heroes top, they can go for
they
it.
already got it. I'm like actually just not even paying attention. Yeah. Too busy checking out Axe builds.
Lumi, please. But yeah, for LGD, they're just going to turtle here. You want to wait out the Aegis. You are the late game lineup. You're also the lineup that struggles a bit to initiate. Maybe they go for a smoke pick off, but definitely not looking to like take objectives right now. They want to put the onus on CDEC to initiate, where CDEC is less likely to get that masterful blink vacuum into Winter Wyvern curse. So they'll go for the solo pick here. Even if they get the Garter kill, though, I think they're very content just to sit back. They'll jump in with the Remnants. Initiation is there. He's got the Shadow Blade, but Dust will prevent it off with your head. They gank him, and then they immediately run the hell away. This is going to be the way LGD play for a bit.
Yeah, I think what CDEC is waiting for is essentially triple BKB on all their cores, right? Like, imagine Spirit Breaker with BKB, Slardar with BKB, and maybe even Razor getting a BKB later just charges at you. It doesn't matter that you could get a call and call down off.
I spy something juicy. Q getting caught out here, but then the counterplay. Oh, this is what happens when you leave your base, LGD. 2 down. They're hunting for more. Maybe wanting to go back in. The call down to complete airball. Damage will be stolen. Cheeky then chains. And maybe we'll sprint away. I mean, that to me is just ROTK. It's something that the analyst talked about. Very aggressive by nature as a captain. Likes to force fights a lot. But the way that this game is developed, they need to be very patient and reactive for the most part. At least until the Aegis is down and CDEC are more evened out in terms of their momentum. But with that death, that means the tier 2 probably goes down.
Yeah, to be fair to ROTK, I think the time to be aggressive was that time because they did get a pick against Spirit Breaker. So they're like, okay, we get map control for a bit, let's try to make something else happen.
But their team fight's so strong even without the Spirit Breaker. Like, you have the back curse, you've got the mech, I still think CDEC are not a team you want to fight into at that stage, even when the Spirit Breaker's down.
Yeah,
you don't need to either.
I think LGD's at their best if Dazzle could stay behind and play kind of a counter-initiator game, right?
Yeah.
Keep whoever gets jump on, stay alive, and then you go from there.
Like, this is what LGD should be doing. Split push with maybe. He may get caught and die. No, he's going to jump away, and
maybe.
he drags the Space Scout towards him. And then they find Q. All of a sudden, a delicious grab in the mid lane by RTK, and chop. Bam! That feels good.
Yep. And every kill they get, they buy themselves a good 30, 40 seconds of free farm, so.
And a nice 4-digit bounty as well. 1,400 gold swing off of that single pick on, well, a support Wyvern. Fairly farmed one at that.
You know, this really harkens back to the good old LGD, right? With Xiao Wei scripting it out. Maybe this is a little bit of reminiscent of that.
Yeah, lose all the lanes,
yeah.
the one Yao RP to rule them all.
But here's the thing, though.
Rest, no more Yao, though. So.
I feel like LGD is not that far behind if they could keep getting these picks.
They are down a lot of gold, and if CDEC hit that combo, yeah, they're losing the fight, but LGD should never let it get to that point where there is a 5-man group up. Their goal is to rat with the Ember Spirit, split push a bit, farm the Ancients with the Gyro, park the supports behind them to play defensively. If you see an opening, RTK maybe goes in for that pick, as it looks like the BKB now will be his next choice. And just turtle. You've got Frost Armor for the structures to slow down the push. Onus, to me, is still on CDEC. Sure, they had to start Midas, but even so, this hero is not much of a flash farmer. He's even with the Ember Spirit, not ahead, despite that massive kill advantage. They need to keep on fighting. LGD, just keep on dodging.
With that said, though, as this game drags on, CDEC will get essentially every Roshan, so they do have that going for them.
3,200 gold up, but maybe the Magician. His Ember Spirit has pulled many a game out of the hat, Houdini style, for LGD in the past. And he's getting to the point where he has that option to go straight into a Daedalus now. Big damage could be coming soon. They also, bear in mind, have the Weave, very potent, not only to counter the Slardar, but to set up for the Ember Spirit's bonus damage. So for CDEC, I think maybe even trying to invest into something like a Vlad's or an AC next could be a good pickup. Just to mitigate some of the LGD physical damage.
Yeah, I definitely agree. The other big pickup here for LGD is that Dazzle's also nearing a mech. You know, we talked about how important MMY staying alive is, and even more so now. If he gets to cast Weave, Mech, and a Grave, then
just for the armor, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, the heal isn't even that important at this point. It's nice, of course. But yeah, I like it just for the armor.
Well, for the armor part, he's already got the buckler, so
Yeah.
that's the thing.
In good shape here for sure. LGD doing a good job of thwarting CDEC's aggression, but it only takes one bad fight, Lumi. The tier 3 is exposed mid lane. They do have a glyph available. Maybe with buybacks they could hold, but if you lose 2-3 heroes and they're forced to buy back, then CDEC extend the window in which they can take the game by probably like 5+ minutes at that point.
Yep.
So what do you think CDEC is waiting for exactly? The Aegis is going to expire.
They're waiting for the next Roche.
Just the next Roche, and what are the other like key items to you for
Yeah,
CDEC?
it lines up with XZ having like 3.3k gold right now. Shiva's is great. Hex might not be bad because I feel like LGD, they're strong in number in 5, but as soon as you pick off one, right, doesn't matter which. Like if you lose even the Lich, Chain Frost is gone, Frost Armor is gone, that's where CDEC's damage output will go up. And of course, if you get the Dazzle pick, you just straight up win the team fight. So I personally like the Blink Cypher Vice, but CDEC might go for a little bit more defensive with the Shivas, gives you more vision, setting up other AoE spells. Or do you think there's another item choice here for the Darkseer that might be better than Hex or Shivas?
I like Shivas or Hex. What else would you go for? Slardar is going to be the one that gets the AC. I don't really think there's any other like utility item that they hugely need. They're the team that should be initiating, so something like a Force Staff seems unnecessary. BKB is also a decent choice.
Okay. So massive BKB. We're going to see like 4 BKBs on the side of CDEC. And again, when you have magical immunity, what damage is there for LGD? There is actually no damage. Maybe the Ember, but
I'm not really sure he needs a BKB this game. There's not that much that cancels his initiation or bursts him down, and what does is the Axe Call, which he's still a bit vulnerable to. So I feel like the Shivas may have been a bit better for them trying to take a team fight, but a BKB is always a solid item. It's tough to argue with it. It's like peanut butter and jelly, Lumi. You just can't go wrong.
Oh.
RTK, oh, that's how you go wrong. Jumps in, but a good Force Staff out. He's even baited Garter, and CDEC are going to commit on this, but that's a long way to go just for RTK. Gets Grave. They cast the Winter's Curse MMY, but it's too late. They already got off the Grave. Chain Frost to bouncing. They will lose him, but CDEC have committed massive amounts of BKBs. All their initiation. Now Q's on the run. Honestly, I guess they get the kill and they get out, but that's not even that bad for LGD, all things considered.
yeah, LGD they'll take that trade. I mean, they lost an Axe.
If Q gets the curse off a little bit sooner there's no Grave on the Axe, they kill the Axe, they then kill the Dazzle, and maybe even get a third hero. So the fact that he wasn't able to jump MMY in time, to me, is the fight-changing move.
Yeah, and MMY knows that he is the target, right? Even though they're charging Axe, all they really want to kill is Dazzle, so he's staying as far back as possible. And Mech Check, he's there for 90 gold.
RTK taking one for the team, but I mean, he forced out, what was that, 3 10-second BKBs for that?
Yep.
I honestly say worth.
I think
got his
LGD won that fight, even though they lost a hero.
I would say at best it's an even trade, if not them just straight out winning in terms of the, because they want this game to go late anyway, right?
Yeah.
So they don't care about one death on a hero that already has his key items. BKB would still be nice, but maybe doesn't die. He's farming, keeps on jumping away. Very good map sense and discipline for maybe. Something he definitely showed against Cloud9 at TI, that he can go late on Ember and play mistake-free Dota, which when you're up against this level of burst and lockdown, it's got to be mistake-free or you're just dead.
Yeah, again, if they lose one hero, they are losing at least a tier 3, if not more. And speaking of which, if you look at the go graph, we haven't seen a kill against
If there's
LGD.
no dots on here, that's good for LGD.
Yeah, and there hasn't been one for, what, close to 10 minutes now, so they are shaping up. Well, minus the RTK one, but they committed so much. I'm not sure if that even counted.
Well, yeah, the gold graph is kind of trickling down, but as the game goes on, the relative difference shrinks, even if the flat difference grows a little bit here. CDEC are far ahead, but this, to me, Lumi, is the Aegis where they want to break the base. They're going to get the AC up relatively soon. That's a great item for sieging. Shiki, BKB completed. He can work towards his next siege item. Maybe gets like that Shiva's Guard or even into the Aghanim Scepter. There's not any new item to me past that point, aside from maybe that last BKB on Garter that's going to change the complexion of the game. Wyvern Refresher, perhaps the big one, but he's not really farming enough that that's something in the near future. And this Aegis, they definitely want to at least take that tier 2, force a buyback maybe, and take a tier 3. if they don't get any racks out of this Aegis, I think LGD start to feel a lot more comfortable.
Yeah, I think the last item they are looking to pick up is maybe finishing Garter's BKB, and then
Yeah.
you go. I mean, when
And the AC as well.
yeah, which I think he is. Yeah, he's gonna get in like maybe 3-4 minutes, shortly before the Aegis expires.
But you can tell CDEC understand how dangerous it is to overextend against this line. Like they had the one bad fight. Well, it was what, 2 heroes for 1 or something, and they lost like 2,500 gold off of that.
You say bad fight, they actually got more kills. Yeah.
Yeah. They knew they lost a lot of gold off of that.
Yeah.
Ever since then, they've been really cautious because they don't want to. They know just a kill here or there is all LGD needs to turn this. And LGD will look to stall this push out, but Cheeky, the man up in front, he will take down the tower rather easily. Frost Armor slowing this down, frustrating them. Causing aggressive to whip his crush, but no big deal.
I mean,
slowly work it down.
They get the tier 2 easily, but I imagine the tier 3 is gonna be a lot harder to push.
God,
CDEC
Frost Armor it's the new living armor, just the most annoying thing in the world to push against.
Yeah, he's just trying his best to max that one out as quickly as he can. You know, CDEC's base sieging is actually pretty poor, right? Unless you get a kill or 2. What's your best base sieger? Razor hitting you with 170 damage?
Yeah,
That's
that
not
is a really
fast.
good point. They
Yeah.
have, and the AC will help here a bit, but they don't have that naturally good tower killing hero. Aside from Razor, if he gets like his Ag / refresher or big damage items, but
He does have 2.7k.
yeah. I think they need the Razor to be doing more damage at this point. Like Slardar's initiation, very strong, but you want Cheeky to actually be able to finish off heroes that get crushed and cursed. So maybe we see the Butterfly, could be a really nice pickup against the Ember Spirit and the Gyro. I have Scotty's always okay. I like Butterfly here.
Speaking of Butterfly, Sylar also working towards his Butterfly. What do you feel about his choice of picking up an Eagle Song in kind of this fairly desperate situation, right? They're definitely not winning. You don't have a buyback. Or he's saving buyback now, but obviously a much safer choice is the BKB. What do you think about his kind of gusto purchase, going for a massive damage item at this point in the game?
He's counting on the Dazzle. That to me is the main thing for Sylar. He's going to sit pretty far back in the fights. It'll be like the Ember just sliding the wave down. He even drops the call down from afar. So he's planning to sit far enough back he doesn't get caught, but CDEC don't really have that much. Like, look at their lockdown. The one thing that the BKB really helps you against is Vacuum Wall. But
Right.
outside of that, you still have the Curse, you still have the Spirit Breaker, all 3 forms of lockdown,
Even the
as well
Link
as the Slardar.
even the Link is going to be very good against Gyro when he has
It's
so
a
little
kind
damage.
of underwhelming BKB game for LGD. I think for RTK it's worth it just to ensure he gets off the call, but I don't really feel the cores benefit from it as much as other games.
Okay, so suppose CDEC doesn't push racks with this Aegis, right? Why don't they just play the start game like they're doing throughout the game, right?
They're not
the Go
really
is not moving the other direction, so
They're not really starving the Ember though is the problem. Like maybe still getting out on the map. They can try to play that way. If they want to do that, they have the gem. They just need to keep aggressive wards up, and I think if LGD starts to feel like that's the game plan from CDEC, they'll look to get their own gem and try and get out. But again, they're allowing Sylar to farm the Ancients. They're allowing maybe to push the bottom lane.
Get out!
He will get amped here. This is a long dive though, and Sylar is getting charged. The backup's in position, RTK. They don't actually want to fight, they just want to cover his retreat, and he will make it back. So LGD taking these risks. You have to get out of the base. You can't allow them to choke you like you were suggesting. Even if maybe you die once in a while, overall, it's going to put pressure on CDEC to finish off the game, and maybe just doing a good job. He hasn't gotten caught in like 15, 20 minutes, Lumi.
Yeah. Again, if he gets caught, the game's over. So like he cannot get caught. And this
And
is
by
where,
the way, look at what he's got bottled up.
ooh, well,
That's
honestly,
the game-winning rune right
I
there.
don't think there's going to be a fight. Or maybe they will force one. Do you think you will force one with a DD?
I don't know. Maybe at this point, maybe CDEC's thought process is now we need Razor to get to like, you know,
Oh no, RTK.
Ultra Siege mode. RTK out a bit far. Uh-oh.
Please.
Trouble. Charge coming in. RTK. Invis not going to see it coming. Then the bash follow-up. They're going to lock him down. RTK will die with ease. He does a buyback.
Of course.
And it just expires. So you kill the axe. You probably assume he has buyback here. Do you still want to push? Maybe just to force
Well,
the buyback.
Maybe shows his DD, right? So no, probably you don't want to push into that.
Yeah, it's tough. They're 20,000 gold
Look,
ahead, and
LD.
CDEC, no, they can't easily break the base.
I'm not gonna lie, I love this game, right? Like
This is bringing me back, Lumi.
Yeah, one team's up 20K and they can't push. It's the most frustrating for CDEC, but I'm here just laughing like an idiot because this is what Dota is.
This
to
is
me. Like,
this
it's
is a
fun.
classic Lumi LD throwback. Just
Yeah.
nothing happening
Nothing
for 20
happens,
minutes.
and this is where we talk about how to balance Dota, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I guess Razor just tries to get like.
Ooh, bottom lane, aggressive, almost got a blink on, but maybe just a tad too fast. Remnants back out, and Axe is back alive. Did not need to use his buyback.
Space created. Yeah, Sylar's still getting this farm as well. Like that to me is the most impressive thing. Ember, naturally very elusive and difficult to kill, but Sylar, 254 CS. He's up there with the Ember Spirit, and he's done it when there's been aggressive wards. They're constantly ganking. A lot of it's the good support play as well, just sitting behind him, ensuring that Sylar isn't off on his own, but he's constantly been stacking these Ancients. They're trying to play a little more of the Starvation Dota you mentioned, but it just seems, LGD, it's like a dike with a bunch of holes in it. They just keep on finding their way past the dike, and little squirts of farm coming out everywhere.
I think when you're playing Starvation Dota, one thing that you cannot forget is your ability to pick off. And this is where I really wanted XZ to go for that Scythe of Ice, where maybe Ember gets caught once, right, with a Blink Scythe from XZ.
Yeah.
And you just force a buyback, and that's a totally different ballpark.
The Shivas gives them even better team fight, but their team fight's
they
already
don't
so
need better
good.
team
Yeah.
fight, right? Like, and this BKB, it doesn't help you farm faster. It doesn't help you get any pick off. And to me, is XZ even being initiated? I don't even think that LGD is worried about XZ right now because they can't even get to him. So I'm just not impressed with this item choice.
Yeah, I agree. The BKB hasn't done anything yet. It's maybe a useful item if LGD jump you, but considering the way LGD's been playing and showing that they're playing, that it's an ineffective item that doesn't allow you to starve them, and also doesn't really allow you to high ground any better. Like, we saw the triple BKB mid. They got off the combo,
Right.
they got one kill on the Axe, then they had to run away.
To be fair, that's kind of hindsight. I think when they purchased those BKB, they were thinking
thought
that
they couldn't.
they're going to just win the game there, right?
A lot of it's just crisp play from LGD. They're just not making mistakes. They're not leaving the base. RTK has been reined in. He's been put in the pit and said, RTK, no feeding this game. We
It
need
did
you.
earlier, but right now holding a brand new BKB and looking to use it.
Oh, RTK just roaring with excitement here. They know that Roche could be coming back soon, Lumi, if it was the minimum respawn timer. I think most
Razor
importantly,
shows
they want to try to get a ward out near the Roche pit so that if CDEC go for the Roche, they have a shot to contest. So they do get the ward no matter what, that's good. They do have vision right now. They're tracking Cheeky, but
This is not where you want to fight.
This is the worst possible angle for LGD to jump up.
And now their smoke ends.
And the
Sylar.
battle may begin momentarily. XC running in. Just kidding. He's going to run the hell away. There's the charge on Sylar, though. He's isolated. He's trying to compromise position.
Save him! Great!
Aggressive
he's
with the
good.
jump in. There's the curse as well. Locky maybe in position. They're trapped outside their base. Oh, it's a massacre. LGD run! Get the hell out of there. 3 down with ease.
Buyback
And that's
check
what
time.
happens the second that you try to take
There's
a fight.
no buyback.
I thought they were just going to get the ward and get back. But then RTK, he sees the Razor, and it looks like he was making the call like, guys, we can get a pick off here. We can get a pick off. But the smoke wears off, and then they just get punished for it.
Not
That
like
was-
this, man. ROTK gets charged. He pops the BKB, but I'm not sure how much it'll help out. Here comes Aggressive with the amp damage, and look at his HP just being shredded. Maybe trying his best to hold the base all together, but it's going to crumble, and crumble very quickly.
It's really hard to know without actually hearing the team communication, but that to me right there feels like the difference between having RTK as your captain and Xiaowei. Like, I feel like if Xiaowei team, they get the ward down, they go back to just turtling, but RTK, he's like, let's go kill people. In this case, does end up costing them. Vacuum onto maybe, but he managed to dodge it with the blink forward. Still, they just ignore the Ember. He only tickles them. At this point, they're just so far ahead in items that even a reasonably farmed Ember cannot dent CDEC's armor.
Well, one lane of Rax down, and LGD will definitely fight for the second lane of Rax. Buyback is no buyback on the Axe. And are they actually going to lose a second lane? Gyro's back.
They got to try to hold. You can't just give away 2 lanes for free here.
Here we go.
Maybe we'll initiate Cheeky Poppy as BKB now. They can focus on objectives if they so choose. Q has a Winter's Curse soon. They're going to jump in onto Sylar. He's in danger. Grave to keep him alive. Beautifully handled by MMY. Still Sylar dropping and will fall. In the end, they back on MMY. Second lane of Raxton. The copter out for 70 seconds.
Axe is
Lumi.
back. Can we get some pick off? Anything. They're looking for any silver lining.
He's just going to die if he goes, oh, he'll try for it. The 2-hero call. Winter's Curse is cooled down, though. RTK quickly being forced back. There's the curse.
Oh, my goodness.
RTK's in trouble. Maybe's going to be next. The Chain Frost is a bounce, and CDEC simply do not care. They dive onto Maybe. They're chasing him back to the well, hurting him. Massacre. No,
Okay.
they'll make it out.
Oh, Oh, all right.
Barely. But they lose the second lane of Rax. He's desperate. He knows they need more kills. They can't just give up 2 lanes of Rax for only that. He blinks forward, will chain Shiki, who then TP's out. And that is about that. 28-6 your score. A flawless break by CDEC.
Maybe has 4.5k. Is it time for the DR?
You buy whatever. I mean, look, they
No,
have to know how far behind they are at
Yeah,
this
you
point.
go DR, right? Like,
Yeah.
let's go.
There's no Solar Crest, there's no Butterflies, there's no Halberd.
I mean,
You
feasibly,
there's definitely no need for an MKB, you just get a Rapier.
right? Feasibly, you can just get a crit off a Battle Fury Divine and just win a fight, right?
I never will count out an Ember Spirit who has a Rapier and a Battle Fury. That's just not something you do as a caster. But I mean, dear God, Lumi, they're down 35,000 gold practically at this point.
I don't think you smoke out if you're LGD. It seems like they're
I mean, we saw
grouping
what
up.
happened the
Yeah.
last time they smoked out, and that was before CDEC got a next round of items.
Here's the thing, though. You know CDEC is going to go for Roche. Do you just give it to them? They're pinging it out. They want to go for it, but I'm not sure whether they could take a fight.
LGD were scouted here. They are 5-man into their jungle. I think just like you said, realizing they can't afford
Oh,
to
they know Dazzle's behind, and he's alone. They have War Vision on him.
They get the Remnant in the pit. At the same time, CDEC are going to walk in here as 5.
Oh, Dazzle's
Are you really contesting that?
Yeah, I don't think you can. I think you just...
But if you don't contest it, then they just 5-man and suicide to take Mega Creeps, so... And there's no counterplay. There's a tier 2
Well,
mid.
your counterplays, you hope for crits on maybe, right?
Your counterplay is you pray.
Yeah, you pray. But, okay, this is suicidal to say the least, but... Oh, that's Sentry Ward.
Well,
And they
apparently
pinged
we
them
are
out.
in a church, Lumi, so it's only fitting.
I don't know if that makes sense, but okay. Courier is parked over this shop.
Meanwhile, mid lane,
You have to go back. Your tier 4s are being hit.
they're just waiting for
Yeah.
the Rapier at this point.
Radiant's
Relic's
middle
up.
tower is under
This is the YOLO Rapier. LGD, another smoke that just doesn't really accomplish anything.
I wonder if that ward saw the courier fly by towards a secret shop.
I don't think they care if he has a Rapier.
Well, I mean,
honestly.
maybe they do a little bit.
Of course, if you know it's coming, you try to kill it, but they went the Roshan. CDEC will be grabbing it here very easily. Smacking down the Roshan.
Here's the thing, right? Like, maybe has 2 slights. If you don't get a crit on either one, that's it.
Yeah, then the racks are down.
Yeah. So 25% chance.
All right, Rapier hype. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. But guess who's got a heart? 3,300 health, 30 armor on
somebody's being
aggressive.
charged. Run. Run,
Oh,
team,
God.
not like this.
Get back. Give maybe his one shot, guys. They're going to get up the Nether Strike. They bash Sylar back. He's caught completely out of position. Not the BKB from Garter. Diving forward. The Frost Armor's there. CDEC.
They haven't seen the Rapier, have they? Okay, now they have.
Yeah, that didn't exactly get the necessary damage done.
They need CDEC to clump up a bit where the Battle Fury cleave damage will go through as well, but
Yeah, you definitely need that cleaving damage that ignores armor.
yeah.
But if CDEC stay spread, they just leave the Razor in front. With an Aegis, they may never have a shot. He's not got the Aghanims online. The tower quickly dropping as they lay into it. Look for the RTK initiation. He's got the Blink Call. It's an airball. And now the jump forward, but hardly even scratching CDEC.
Didn't get a crit, doesn't count.
Well, how many more chances will he get? That was his first one.
And of course, there's the
Tower's
Aghanim Scepter,
down
so-
now. The next call had better connect. This one does on Shiki, but he's glimmered up. He's just running away. RTK, there's your slice. There's still Shiki, very healthy and aggressive. He says, enough of this nonsense. RTK pummeled a BKB, but that's while he's got 1 HP. MMY next, he'll fall maybe back to the well. He needs more crits, Lumi. He needs more. He's getting nothing for now. He jumps forward. He will get down the Wyvern, but still the rack's about to fall. Sylar now forced to buy back or try to rejoin the fight. And no, sorry, it wasn't Sylar buy back. The other two. Sylar now on the run back towards the well. And
There's
it
a
looks like the
charge.
racks are down. They're going to charge. They're diving. CDEC looking for more. The 3-hero crush coming out. Aggressive. Smacking them down. It was a Rapier that did nothing. CDEC, they end this game by beating up Big Brother. They take it by about 40,000 gold. If this was a race, I think they got lapped like 8 times.
They did. I mean, by all metrics, this game was not close at all, but I really appreciate the fact that at least LGD fought to the bitter end. The Rapier even came out. Unfortunately, no lucky crits for them, and Well, where did this game really fall apart, you think?
It
was kind of like
feel like
minute
it was,
one.
Yeah, I mean, I like the way that CDEC laned. I felt like that really caught LGD off guard. You pick the Lich, the analysts talk about, okay, Axe Lich off lane, it's going to slow down the Slardar quite a bit. Darkseer is normally the off laner, but they put him safe lane. They know if the Lich goes there, he's denying the wave. That just allows Darkseer easier access into the jungle. So I felt like the way that CDEC laned and rotated early just completely caught LGD off guard, and then from there it was very difficult to come back.
I agree with you, but I think our boys at the panel would like to say something more about that game. So let's send it back to Mr. Kato guy and two other guys.
Thanks. LD and Lumi. We're back at the panel, of course, with Winter and Gods. Congratulations are in order for CDEC. They're going to take the first game here for day 2 main stage action. Unfortunately, that means that LGD, their Nanyang journey, will conclude. But let's take it back to the very beginning of the game. Constant lane shuffles. You saw aggressive, mid. The Lich became a roaming Lich. Who do you think controlled the game for the first 5 minutes, let's say?
I think when you are forcing the Lich to move around, you are doing a really, really good job. And as I mentioned, LGD had to win the lanes, otherwise they're just going to be hard-pressed in the mid-game. And that was what happened. They lost their lanes. The first blink gang from RTK didn't work, and they just couldn't control the game. Their fate was not in their hands. If CDEC do everything correctly, there's just nothing they could do.
Yeah, 16 minutes in, it was 10-1 in favor for CDEC. Then that fight broke out top, and we were saying if they were to win this fight, it could be game. But there was a spark of life there, Gods, for LGD. They did manage to stall it out, and they got the respect from CDEC, and it was slow, and there was a chance there. But unfortunately, things didn't work out. What happened?
Well, it was still very much a case they were stuck in their base. They were being starved out. So even though CDC had no way to push high ground, partly because of the nature of their draft, it was a matter of CDC farming the entire map. At the end of the game, you go flash forward far after they take racks, the two supports have the same level of farm as the gyrocopter. Even before that, you're looking at 5 heroes on the CDEC side, all with 10,000 net worth or more. And it's just, they had this huge farm distribution, while the Lich, the Dazzle, they're not going to have the same impact in a team fight as a Winter Wyvern, a Spirit Breaker.
Yeah,
and
because Ember is like the only one who can actually go out on the map to farm. Like, no one can actually go out because there's a Spirit Breaker and a Slardar with Sprint, with Blink.
they got nothing out of the gyrocopter. I feel like the biggest thing what this game came down to was CDC hit their key item timing earlier. In this case, was the Darkseer mech, and then they smoke. So if LGD get their Axe Blink before the Darkseer mech, they smoke up. They're the ones controlling the tempo. All it came down to was a race for Axe to get Blink before Darkseer gets mech in some ways, and then whichever team gets that key item first, smokes, takes control.
The Slardar as well, like, I felt like CDEC have more options because they have the mech and they have the Blink on Slardar, whereas for LGD, it's just a Blink on Axe, and they have to rely on the ultimates. They have to land their call plus call down and chain frost.
Gyro can't do anything until Axe has a Blink this game. You've got two non-initiating supports who are just defensive supports. Ember also didn't really play as much with the team, spend a bit more time farming. I don't think that was really the key issue, but just Gyro, 1-7 and 2. You don't often see that score in a Gyro.
I think it's more of the nature of their lineup. It's the Lich and the Dazzle doesn't allow them to be aggressive like, the SB and the Wyvern.
Yeah.
They can just be much more initiative towards what they want to do instead of Dazzle and Lich is more reactionary. You have to wait behind the carry. You have to wait for the Axe to get Blink. You can't really initiate ganks.
Too much waiting.
Too much waiting. Well, CDC, they don't have to wait too long. They get their win, and we're not going to wait further. We'll send it over to the stage now where we have Shiva for the winner's interview. She's going to be with Aggressive.
He's standing with me here is Aggressive from CDEC. Aggressive, at MLG, you gave an interview and you said that you watch other teams play to get inspiration for the new patch. Is your Slardar influenced by any player in specific?
首先恭喜，然后就是在 MLG 的时候，在你的采访当中，你提到过，在新的版本，你们队伍会看其他队伍的比赛，然后来拿一些灵感。你的语言的打法有没有向其他选手就是学习一下呢？
我会看一下，但是现在这个版本鱼人打1号位的比较少，然后就是也没什么好看到学习的吧。
I will look at their plays, but in this version, in this patch, not many people use Slardar as a position 1, so there really isn't anything for me to look at.
Okay, good to know. You're mostly known for playing Ember and Gyrocopter.